Wife begged me to drive her to her ex's hospital bedside and confessed I still love him. I stayed silent, drove her there, watched her run to him without looking back, then went home and packed everything. My note said, "Don't worry, he can have you now." She's been calling nonstop ever since. This happened 8 months ago, and I'm finally ready to tell the whole story. Buckle up because this is long, but the ending makes every word worth reading. I 34. Male, work in commercial construction management in Nashville, pulling in $285,000 annually plus bonuses. Wasn't always this comfortable though. Grew up dirt poor in rural Tennessee, raised by my grandfather after my parents abandoned me when I was 7. Grandpa worked construction when his back allowed it, but money was always tight. We lived in a trailer that leaked when it rained. I was that kid who studied while others partied, worked every job I could find through high school and college, mowed lawns, delivered newspapers, worked retail, cleaned offices after school. Teachers saw my potential and helped me apply for scholarships. My guidance counselor stayed late helping me fill out financial aid forms because Grandpa didn't understand the process. Earned a full scholarship to University of Tennessee for construction management and business. Even with full tuition covered, I worked in the campus cafeteria and as a night security guard to pay for books and food. While classmates went to parties, I was studying in the library until it closed, then working the graveyard shift. Graduated summa cum laude and moved to Nashville with $600 in my pocket, a beat-up Honda Civic that barely ran, and huge dreams. My grandfather cried when I left, proud but worried I'd forget where I came from. I promised him I never would. Started at the bottom of a construction company, making $28,000 as a project assistant. But I was driven by this burning need to never be poor again. The memory of cold winter nights in that leaky trailer, of Grandpa choosing between medicine and groceries, of kids at school making fun of my secondhand clothes, it all fueled me. Worked 75-hour weeks, took every certification course, saved almost every penny. Lived in a studio apartment smaller than most closets, ate peanut butter sandwiches for lunch every day for 3 years. My coworkers thought I was crazy, but I had a plan. Every dollar saved was another step away from poverty. By 25, I was managing major commercial projects. By 29, I was senior project manager handling million-dollar builds. By 32, I was running my own division overseeing shopping centers, office complexes, and industrial developments. Last year, I managed construction projects worth over $95 million. Everything I own, I earned through determination. My $820,000 house in Belmead, saved 4 years while living like a monk. My BMW X7, paid cash after saving 18 months. My $2.1 million investment portfolio, every dollar from my own work. Understanding my background is crucial for what happens next. I worked for everything and appreciated every success because I remembered having nothing. 3 years ago, I met Jessica at my best friend Diego's restaurant opening. Diego's this amazing guy from Mexico who built 2 successful restaurants from nothing. We've been tight since college when we were both broke kids sharing ramen and dreaming big. Diego's got this incredible ability to read people's character, which becomes important later. Jessica was 29, worked as a brand consultant for boutiques making maybe $42,000, but she was absolutely stunning. 5 feet 7 inches, blonde hair, green eyes, model quality looks. She was standing alone looking bored, scrolling her phone with this entitled expression. I approached with some weak joke about expensive craft sodas. She laughed, this practiced perfect laugh, and we started talking. She seemed fascinated by everything about me, asking detailed questions about my work, house, car, vacation spots. I thought she was just being friendly and showing genuine interest in my life. "So you built all this yourself?" she asked, eyes wide with what I thought was admiration. "That's incredible. Most guys our age are still living with roommates or their parents." Looking back, I realized she was conducting a financial background check. Every question was designed to assess my net worth, spending power, and lifestyle. She asked about my neighborhood, what I paid for my house, what kind of benefits my job offered, whether I had family money. At the time, I interpreted her curiosity as being impressed by my work ethic and success story. Our first dates were ridiculously expensive. Upscale steakhouses where she'd order $75 ribeye without blinking, always choosing the most expensive items on the menu. Weekend trips costing me $4,000 each time to luxury resorts she'd research and suggest. Shopping where she'd browse until I offered to buy whatever caught her eye. Designer purses, expensive jewelry, boutique clothing that cost more than my monthly food budget. "You're so generous," she'd say, kissing my cheek after I'd drop $800 on a handbag she'd been admiring. "Most guys are so cheap. You really understand how to treat a woman right." She made me feel like the most successful man alive, always complimenting my accomplishments, telling me how mature and driven I was, how she'd never met anyone so ambitious. She'd gush about my house, car, success story with breathless admiration that made me feel 10 feet tall. "I can't believe you came from nothing and built all this," she'd say, running her hands over my granite countertops. "You're like a real-life success story. It's so attractive when a man has his life together." What I didn't notice was she never talked about her own goals beyond acquiring expensive things. Every conversation circled back to money, status, or luxury items she wanted. 3 months in, she was practically living at my place. Started leaving designer clothes in my closet, expensive products in my bathroom, gradually taking over. Her apartment was tiny in a rough neighborhood, so she claimed my house was more practical. 6 months in, she moved in completely. That's when red flags appeared. My grocery bills tripled because she only ate organic premium brands. Utility bills doubled because she needed 72 degrees and hour-long showers. She quit her job because it was beneath her potential and started freelance consulting, bringing in maybe $400 monthly. The biggest warning sign was how she talked about my money like it was already hers. "We should remodel the bathroom. We should get a hot tub. We should buy a vacation condo." Always we when spending my money. She also showed her true character around people she deemed inferior. Incredibly rude to restaurant servers, dismissive to delivery drivers, condescending to service workers. When my grandfather visited, she was polite to his face but made cruel comments afterward about his simple lifestyle. I ignored these red flags because she was gorgeous, seemed to appreciate my success, and talked about marriage and kids. I was ready to settle down with someone beautiful who understood ambition. 2 years in, I proposed with a $48,000 ring she'd been hinting about for months. The moment I got on one knee, she was filming for social media. Before I finished my speech, she was posting, "He finally stepped up to my level. Engaged. Living. My best life? Never settle." Wedding planning was a nightmare. Jessica demanded everything expensive. $110,000 for 280 guests at Nashville's most exclusive venue. $8,000 dress, premium catering, 12-piece orchestra, flowers from Holland. When I suggested something beautiful for less money, she cried and accused me of ruining her dream wedding. So I paid for everything, including flying her family from Oregon and housing them in luxury hotels. The wedding was stunning. Jessica looked like a magazine cover, but she spent more time posing for photos than celebrating with guests. She barely acknowledged my grandfather, too busy networking with wives of successful businessmen. Our honeymoon was a month in Europe, costing $35,000. Jessica insisted we couldn't go cheap. She spent half the time shopping for designer goods and half staging Instagram photos. I wanted to explore culture. She wanted to document our luxury lifestyle. The first year looked perfect from outside. I worked 65-hour weeks managing million-dollar construction projects while Jessica, honestly, I'm still not sure what she did. Her consulting business brought in maybe $500 monthly, barely covering her Starbucks habit and nail appointments. Her daily routine became increasingly lavish and unproductive. She'd sleep until 10 a.m., spend 2 hours getting ready, then head to lunch with potential clients who never seemed to materialize into actual work. Afternoons were for shopping, spa appointments, or what she called networking events that looked suspiciously like social gatherings. When I'd ask about her business, she'd get vague. "I'm building my brand," she'd say. "You can't rush authentic relationships. These things take time to develop." But I never saw proposals, contracts, invoices, or any evidence of actual work being done. She developed increasingly expensive tastes that seemed to escalate monthly. $4,000 handbags used twice before declaring them outdated. Weekly $400 spa appointments that became necessary for her mental health. Personal trainer 5 times weekly at $200 per session because she needed to maintain her image. Monthly shopping trips costing thousands because she deserved nice things. "I'm an investment in your success," she'd say, when I questioned the spending. "When you're at company events or client dinners, you need a wife who looks the part. This is all for your career advancement." When I suggested getting a real job, she'd get wounded and say, "I thought you wanted me focused on supporting your career?" Or, "Don't you want me looking good for business events?" She'd turn it around so I felt guilty for suggesting she contribute financially to our household. The worst part was watching how she treated people she deemed inferior. She'd snap fingers at servers like they were pets, return items after wearing them once claiming they were defective, make our housekeeper redo rooms because they weren't perfect. She spoke to retail workers like they were beneath her, demanding discounts and special treatment. "That server was so slow," she'd complain after we'd leave restaurants. "They clearly don't understand who they're dealing with. We should have demanded a different table." When my grandfather visited, she was polite to his face but made cruel comments afterward about his simple lifestyle. It's sweet that he raised you, she'd say. But he doesn't really understand our world, does he? It's embarrassing when he talks about his construction days like they're impressive. Around 18 months into marriage, Jessica's behavior changed dramatically. She became secretive, spending hours on her phone but hiding the screen. When I'd ask what she was doing, she'd snap work stuff or planning content. She started going out more frequently and staying out later. Girls' nights until 3 a.m. That happened multiple times per week. Weekend trips to visit college friends I wasn't invited to join. When I suggested coming along, she'd say, "You'd be bored, just girl drama and shopping." Her phone became her constant companion. She'd take it to the bathroom, sleep with it under her pillow, and get nervous when it rang in front of me. When I'd glance at her screen, she'd quickly flip it over or switch apps. The secretiveness was obvious and unsettling. Truth started unraveling at Diego's anniversary party. Jessica's friend Amanda was visiting from Denver. After some socializing, Amanda reminisced about college, repeatedly mentioning someone named Cameron. "How's Cameron doing these days?" Jessica asked, trying to sound casual, but I caught the intensity. "Oh my goodness, Cameron is crushing it," Amanda replied. "Just made managing partner at his law firm, pulling in like $520,000 now. Bought this incredible estate worth $3.2 million. Has a Porsche and Tesla. Still single though. Says nobody measures up to..." She stopped, glancing at me with embarrassment. Jessica quickly changed subjects, but I'd caught the look on her face when Amanda described Cameron's wealth. Same hungry expression she got looking at jewelry at Tiffany's. That night I found her scrolling through someone's social media with intense focus. When she noticed me watching, she quickly switched apps. "Just being nosy about old college friends," she said with a fake laugh. But I'd seen enough. She was studying photos of his mansion, cars, expensive lifestyle with laser focus. After the Amanda incident, I started paying closer attention. Jessica became increasingly secretive, taking calls in other rooms, claiming to work late, though her supposed clients were small boutiques closing by 6 p.m. One evening, she claimed dinner with her college roommate Sarah in Franklin for business opportunities. Something felt off, so I called the restaurant. No reservation under either name. When I called Sarah directly, she was home in California and hadn't spoken to Jessica in months. When I confronted Jessica, she had elaborate backup explanations ready. The lies flowed so smoothly, I realized this wasn't her first deception. I started documenting everything. Jessica would deny conversations we'd clearly had, claim she never said things I remembered. She was gaslighting me into questioning my own memory. Meanwhile, she escalated criticism of our lifestyle. Our house wasn't impressive enough. My car was embarrassing for my status. She wanted to move to a more prestigious neighborhood. "Your grandfather is sweet," she said after his visit, "but he's so unsophisticated. It's awkward when he talks to my friends because they don't understand people like him." Diego started pulling me aside with concerns. He'd noticed how rudely she treated his staff, how she name-dropped wealthy people, how she evaluated everyone by net worth. "Brother, I love you like family," Diego said one evening. "But that woman is trouble. When she looks at you, all she sees are dollar signs." Everything exploded 3 weeks before the hospital incident. Jessica claimed she was working late on a huge project for a new client. I decided to surprise her with dinner from her favorite sushi place. When I arrived at the co-working space she claimed to use, the manager said it had been closed for renovations all week. Jessica's car wasn't anywhere nearby. I spent 2 hours looking for her, calling repeatedly. She finally answered around 9:30 p.m., sounding flustered. "Where are you?" I asked. "At the office working, like I told you." "Why are you calling so much?" "Which office?" "The one that's been closed all week." Silence. Then, "Oh, I meant the coffee shop nearby. Sometimes I work there when I need quiet." When she got home around 11 p.m. looking disheveled, I was waiting with my laptop open to our credit card statements. I'd spent the evening going through months of financial records, organizing everything chronologically, looking for patterns. "We need to talk," I said calmly, gesturing to the chair across from me. She looked nervous but tried to play it casual. "Can this wait until tomorrow? I'm exhausted from working so late." "Sit down, Jessica. Now." The financial investigation had been enlightening and infuriating. Expensive lunches at upscale restaurants during work hours when she claimed to be meeting clients. Hotel charges when she was supposedly homesick. Uber rides to expensive neighborhoods she had no business visiting. Designer store purchases on days she said she was working from home. "Explain this," I said, showing her the screen. $220 lunch at the Capitol Grill last Tuesday. You told me you were homesick with food poisoning." Her face went pale. I could see her mind racing, trying to come up with an explanation. "Oh, that," she said weakly. "I felt better later and met a potential client for a late lunch. I forgot to mention it because you were so worried about me being sick. And this?" $180 at the Palm last Thursday when you said you were home doing laundry? Another client meeting. These people prefer nice places. And this Uber to Bell Mead at 2 p.m. on Friday when you texted me you were at Target? The lies were becoming more elaborate and desperate. She started crying, claiming she was overwhelmed and had been trying to build her business without bothering me with the details. That's when she cracked. The whole story came out over 3 excruciating hours. Yes, she'd been lying about whereabouts for months. Yes, she'd been meeting Cameron regularly. But it wasn't romantic. They were just old friends reconnecting. He was mentoring her business ideas and teaching her about real success. He's just helping me figure out my career path, she insisted through tears. He understands success better than you do. He's achieved so much more. What career? You post outfit photos for a living. You don't get it, she screamed, finally showing her true feelings. You don't support my potential. Cameron sees what I could become. He believes in me. The conversation revealed everything I needed to know about her character and our marriage. She didn't see me as a partner or even a person. I was just a source of funding while she pursued her real dreams with someone else. Over 3 hours, the truth emerged. Cameron had contacted her 10 months ago through LinkedIn. Started with innocent messages, escalated to daily texting, then phone calls, then secret meetings. He'd been taking her to expensive restaurants, buying gifts, promising to fund her business ventures. Through her email, yes, I violated her privacy. I found months of correspondence planning their future together, discussing ending their marriages, talking about the luxurious lifestyle they'd have. The most damaging email was from 2 weeks earlier. Cameron, I can't keep pretending to be happy in this boring marriage. I know you make enough to support the lifestyle I deserve. He's so controlling with money and has no vision. When are you leaving Sarah so we can be together properly? Wait, Cameron was married too. I called Diego immediately. Remember how you warned me about Jessica? You were absolutely right. I need your help. Diego arrived within an hour. I showed him everything. Emails, financial evidence, pattern of lies. Diego's expression got darker with each revelation. That gold-digging snake, he said. What's the plan? Diego's cousin worked at Cameron's law firm. Within 48 hours, I had complete intelligence. Cameron was married to a pediatric surgeon named Sarah, had 2 kids, and a prenup that would destroy him if he cheated. His firm had strict ethics policies. He was also heavily leveraged financially. Mansion, luxury cars, private schools, all financed to maintain his image. Here's the best part, Diego said, grinning. Cameron's been bragging to colleagues about his gorgeous side piece married to some construction guy with more money than brains. He's been showing Jessica's photos around the office. The disrespect was incredible, but it gave me ammunition. I'm going to destroy both their lives, I told Diego. Now you're talking? What do you need? I spent the next week being the perfect husband while secretly arranging pieces. Brought Jessica flowers daily, made dinner reservations at her favorite places, even suggested a romantic weekend in Savannah. She seemed confused by the attention, but went along with it. Meanwhile, I was moving chess pieces. First, I transferred most assets to accounts with only my name. Since I'd earned everything and Tennessee isn't a community property state, this was legal. Second, I had divorce papers prepared with evidence of her adultery that would eliminate alimony. Third, Diego's brilliant idea. I created an anonymous email and contacted Cameron's wife, Sarah. Sent her screenshots of emails between Cameron and Jessica, photos from their restaurant dates that Jessica had posted on social media. Sarah responded within hours. Thank you for this information. I'll be handling this through my attorney Monday morning and forwarding everything to his firm's ethics board. Then fate handed me the perfect opportunity. It was a Tuesday afternoon when everything crashed down. I was working from home when Jessica's phone rang around 2 p.m. She answered casually, but her expression changed instantly. What? Oh my goodness, no! How bad is it? Which hospital? She was pacing frantically, voice getting higher with each word. I need to get there right now. Yes, I'm coming. Tell them I'm coming. She hung up and turned to me with tears streaming down her face. Cameron's been in a terrible car accident, she said, voice shaking. He was driving to court and some truck ran a red light. Hit him on the driver's side. He's in surgery at Vanderbilt Medical Center right now. I felt punched in the stomach. Not because Cameron was hurt, but because of how my wife was reacting. She was falling apart over her secret lover's accident. How did you find out? I asked carefully. His law partner called me. Cameron had me listed as an emergency contact. She was sobbing now, mascara running. I need to get to the hospital. Can you drive me? I'm too upset to drive safely. The fact that Cameron had her as emergency contact while married with children told me everything about how serious their affair had become. I sat there watching my wife cry hysterically over another man's accident, and something inside me snapped. This was it, the moment of truth. Please, she begged, grabbing my arm. I need to be there. I need to make sure he's okay. Why do you need to be there, Jessica? I asked quietly. She looked at me with red, swollen eyes and said the words that ended our marriage. Because I still love him. I know that's terrible to say, but I can't help how I feel. I need to be there for him. The honesty was brutal, but liberating. After months of lies, she'd finally told me her truth. She loved Cameron, not me. I was just the financial provider while she pursued her real love. I stayed quiet for what felt like forever, processing that she'd just confessed to loving another man. Please say something, she whispered. I know this is complicated, but I need to get to the hospital. I stood up slowly, grabbed my keys, and headed for the garage. Come on, I said with complete detachment. I'll drive you there. The 20-minute drive to Vanderbilt was silent except for Jessica's sniffles and frantic phone calls for updates on Cameron's condition. I drove on autopilot while processing everything that had just happened. My wife had just confessed to loving another man. Present tense. I still love him. After 3 years together, 2 years of marriage, and hundreds of thousands I'd spent building what I thought was our life together, she loved someone else. The woman I'd trusted with my heart, my home, my future. She was in love with her affair partner. I thought about all the times she'd said she loved me. Had any of it been real? Or was I always just the safe choice? The provider. The man who could fund her lifestyle while she searched for something better? Thank you for driving me, she said as we pulled into the hospital parking garage. I know this is weird, but don't, I said firmly. Just don't say anything else. The words came out colder than I intended, but I was protecting myself. Every word she spoke made this worse. Every attempt to justify or explain was another knife in my back. We walked through the hospital in silence. Jessica asked directions to the surgical waiting area with the urgency of a woman rushing to see her husband, not her affair partner. The moment the elevator doors opened, she spotted Cameron's law partner and rushed over without a backward glance. How is he? Is he out of surgery yet? Can I see him? I hung back, watching my wife frantically question strangers about her lover's condition. She was completely focused on Cameron, acting like I didn't exist. In her mind, I had become invisible the moment she learned about the accident. Her mask had completely fallen away. Then Cameron's actual wife Sarah arrived with their 2 young children. She was in scrubs from her own hospital job, looking exhausted and terrified. The kids were crying, asking if Daddy would be okay. Jessica saw them and froze briefly. For a moment, she seemed to remember Cameron was married with children, that she was the other woman destroying this family. But the moment didn't last. When the surgeon came out 20 minutes later saying Cameron was stable and awake, Jessica pushed forward with the family to get information. She was acting like she belonged there. He's asking for Jessica, the surgeon said, looking confused about who that was. Cameron's wife Sarah looked around, clearly having no idea who Jessica was. But Jessica stepped forward immediately. That's me. I'm Jessica. Sarah's expression changed as she realized this beautiful woman wasn't a colleague or friend. The pieces were clicking together. Jessica followed the surgeon toward Cameron's room without looking back at me once. Not a glance, not a word. In her mind, I had ceased to exist the moment she knew Cameron was okay. I stood there watching my wife rush to comfort her married lover, while his actual wife and children stood there stunned and confused. That's when I knew exactly what I had to do. I left the hospital without saying goodbye. Jessica was so focused on Cameron she never noticed me walking away. I drove home in silence, my mind crystal clear. I spent 4 hours methodically packing my important belongings. Clothes, documents, sentimental items from my grandfather, my laptop and work files. I left all the furniture and household items. Material things didn't matter anymore. I called a moving company to get my remaining belongings the next day while Jessica was at the hospital. Then I called Diego. It's done, brother. She chose him. I need a place to stay tonight. Come over right now. We'll handle everything. Before leaving, I wrote a simple note and left it on the kitchen counter where she'd see it. Don't worry. He can have you now. That was it. No long explanation, no emotional outpouring. Just a simple statement of fact. I took one last look around the house I'd worked so hard to afford, the life I'd built with someone who never truly loved me, and walked out. I stayed at Diego's that night. Around 11 p.m., my phone started ringing, Jessica's name lighting up repeatedly. I let every call go to voicemail. She called 14 more times. I turned my phone off. Next morning, I found 23 missed calls and 47 frantic text messages. Early ones were confused. Where are you? Your car isn't here. Why aren't you answering? I'm worried. Then desperate. I found your note. What does that mean? Please call me back. We need to talk. You can't just leave without discussing this. Finally, completely desperate. I didn't mean what I said at the hospital. I was just scared and emotional. You're my husband. Please come home. I love you, not him. It was just confused feelings. I read through them without feeling much. The shock had worn off, leaving cold clarity. I called my attorney and scheduled an emergency appointment. By noon, divorce papers were being prepared, with evidence of Jessica's adultery that would make this a clean split in my favor. Jessica tried everything to get me back. Showed up at my office multiple times, but security turned her away. Enlisted mutual friends to plead her case. Sent long emails explaining she'd been confused and overwhelmed. What I said at the hospital wasn't real, she wrote. I was panicked and not thinking clearly. You're my husband and I love you. Cameron means nothing to me now. Please give me one chance to prove that. But I'd heard her genuine feelings in that moment of crisis. When Cameron was hurt and she thought she might lose him, her true emotions poured out. I still love him. Those 4 words told me everything. Diego kept me updated through his connections. Cameron had recovered, but his life was falling apart. His wife Sarah had filed for divorce and taken the kids. The law firm's ethics board was investigating. His finances were being scrutinized. And Jessica? She was about to discover her safety net had evaporated. 2 weeks after I left, Jessica got served with divorce papers. She immediately called me sobbing. You can't be serious. We can work through this. There's nothing to work through, I told her calmly. You made your choice at the hospital. I chose you. I came home to you. No, you came home because Cameron was married and unavailable. I was your backup plan. She tried legal threats next. Her attorney quickly informed her she was entitled to essentially nothing, given the evidence of adultery and the fact that all assets were premarital or earned solely by me. Then came financial reality. I'd canceled all credit cards, removed her access to accounts, stopped paying for her car, insurance, and phone. She'd been living off my income for 2 years with no money of her own. She started showing up at the house begging me to take her back. I'll do anything, she sobbed. I'll sign a postnup, get a real job, cut all contact with Cameron forever. Just don't throw away our marriage over one mistake. One mistake? I laughed. You had an affair for almost a year. You planned to leave me for him. You told me you loved him. That's not one mistake. That's who you are. The most satisfying update came from Diego a month later. Cameron got fired from his law firm, he told me, grinning. The ethics board found he was using firm resources to conduct his affair. His wife cleaned him out in the divorce, got the house, both cars, custody of kids, and substantial alimony. And Jessica's been asking around for jobs, but nobody wants to hire her because word got out about what she did. 3 months after I left, I got the most desperate call yet. Jessica had been evicted from her apartment. Cameron wasn't returning her calls because he was broke dealing with his own problems. Her family had cut her off after learning about the affair. I'm literally homeless, she cried. I've been sleeping in my car for 3 days. Cameron won't help because he says I ruined his life. My parents won't speak to me. I have nowhere to go. You had everything, I reminded her. A beautiful home, financial security, a husband who loved you unconditionally. You threw it all away for a fantasy. Please, I'll work for you. I'll clean your house, do anything. Just help me get back on my feet. You made your choice, Jessica. Live with the consequences. I hung up and blocked her number permanently. 8 months later, my life is better than ever. Through mutual acquaintances and Diego's connections, I learned Jessica eventually found work at a department store making $13 an hour. She's living with 3 roommates in a rundown apartment, driving a beat-up car, and struggling to pay basic bills. Cameron is working at a tiny firm, making a fraction of his previous salary while paying heavy child support and alimony to his ex-wife. They're not even together. Turns out when you're both broke and facing social humiliation, love doesn't conquer all. The fantasy relationship that destroyed 2 marriages couldn't survive the reality of financial stress and social consequences. The irony is perfect. Jessica left stability for the promise of greater wealth and ended up with poverty. Cameron risked everything for a woman who only wanted his money and lost both his fortune and her interest. Sometimes people show you exactly who they are in moments of crisis. Jessica's confession, I still love him, was the most honest thing she'd said in our relationship. She loved Cameron, not me. I was just the financial provider while she pursued her real passion. The worst betrayals often come not from calculated malice, but from thoughtless honesty. Jessica didn't plan to destroy our marriage that day. She simply spoke her truth when emotions were high and her guard was down. In that moment of crisis, her real feelings poured out without filter. To any men reading this who suspect their partner is using them, trust your instincts completely. The warning signs are always there if you're willing to see them objectively. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Don't make excuses or rationalize bad behavior. Gold diggers aren't always obvious. They don't all wear designer clothes and demand expensive gifts from day one. Sometimes they're subtle, gradually increasing their expectations while making you feel guilty for questioning their motives. They make you feel like you're lucky to have them, when the reality is they're lucky to have found someone willing to support their lifestyle. Sometimes karma needs a little assistance, but it always comes around with devastating precision. I kept my self-respect, my money, and learned an invaluable lesson about people who measure love by bank account balances. Now I'm with someone who appreciates simple pleasures like Sunday morning coffee and cooking dinner together. Someone who sees my success as admirable, but doesn't see me as a walking ATM. Someone who brings her own money to the relationship and has her own dreams that don't involve spending mine. That's my story. Sometimes the trash takes itself out, but other times you need to help it find the curb where it belongs.